Oh my gosh. Crazy.
You look great, Cody.
Oh my gosh. Looks so cool, huh? Like, what the heck?
All right. Well, I think we are on. Okay, so I think it's working. All right.
Dang.
Okay, so I was hearing myself talking back to myself. So I want to do something so I don't keep hearing the echo. All right, so long time no see, Cody.
No time no see.
The last time I saw you, it was in what was it? Was it in May? I think it was May, right? Because guess what? Well, I know a lot has happened, right? Do you want to tell me a little bit about what you've been doing in the last 3 months?
Oh my gosh. The last 3 months, huh? Oh my gosh. It was summer, huh?
It was summer and you've been very busy, haven't you?
Oh my gosh. Like, what the heck?
Do you want to tell me about your new single?
Oh my gosh. I love my new single, Miracle.
It's beautiful. I'm so proud of you.
Oh my
That's
god.
an amazing accomplishment, right?
Amazing.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. So, if anybody has not downloaded the new single, please do so. We want Cody to be number one on the charts, right?
Heck. I was
Well,
fun.
I watched the AGT performance. Don't stop believing. I think that was your best on the
Oh my
AGT
gosh.
stage. You were just so polished. It was you. It felt like you just I felt anyway that you stole the show, right?
Oh my god.
And you had so much to do. I mean, everybody is good, but you had to play the piano, you had to sing, and I'm not a singer, so I don't know. But if it just to me, right, having to sit down and play the piano and sing at the same time, that's gotta be hard. And but I think also the harmonizing, right? You complimented the other singer, right, to be able to harmonize like that, and it
Wow.
was. I just felt like you felt very secure, right? You were just a superstar, really.
Oh my
And
god.
you've been on that stage for so many times now, haven't you?
Heck
Right.
yeah.
The first time everybody was, of course, just wowed, right? But I felt like each time you've been back on that stage, you've matured, and you're more seasoned now. Of course, you've been also doing this Vegas thing for how long? Is it almost
Oh,
a year,
wow.
right?
Oh my
So, anyways, but I am just quite impressed also that you are back to piano lesson,
dang.
and I'm in a different country now. I'm in New Zealand, right? So, but we are still in touch. So I think technology is amazing, thanks to Zoom. All right. So before I left California, I think we were working on what? Do you want to remind me?
Ooh. Debussy.
Well, what have you played by Debussy? Do you remember?
Dr. Gratis.
Yeah. Well, I think the first Debussy piece you ever played for me was the arabesque, right? The first arabesque that you had learned
Oh
sort
my
of by
gosh.
yourself, by ear. And
Wow.
then we worked on it. And then last year you did Clair de Lune,
Level
right? That was for your RCM level 10 exam,
10 exam.
which you, in case anybody didn't know, Cody got 92%, right? It was first class honors with distinction. Very, very high score.
Oh,
Highest score of any of my students that's ever done level 10 in RCM, for sure, right? So that was quite an amazing accomplishment.
oh my
Anyway, so then we sort of were thinking, okay, what else is by Debussy that's very well known that Cody has not learned? And of
yeah.
course, it's one of my favorite suites called the Children's Corner Suite, right?
Oh my gosh.
And there
Wow.
are how many pieces in that suite? Do you remember?
Yes. Oh my gosh, what the heck?
How many pieces are there in the children's corner?
I got six of them.
Yes, there are six of them, right? And I believe we sort of worked on all six,
Wow.
but I don't know how much you remember, right? But I have a feeling you remember a lot of it. So, shall we review them a little bit? Yeah. Okay. So the first one is what?
Dr. Gratis.
Dr. Gratis, right? Ed Parnasum. So this piece is, this whole suite was inspired by Debussy's daughter, who I believe was about 3 or 4 at the time, right? So she was a toddler. Obviously, she wasn't playing the piano. Who knows, right? Maybe even if she did, it was a very, very easy beginner stuff. But anyway, so this piece was inspired by his daughter, and some of the pieces were inspired by maybe her toys, her stuffed animals, and some of them were perhaps his vision of or his dreams for her, maybe, right? So this piece, in the beginning of it anyway, was sort of inspired by Czerny exercises, right? So Czerny was a classical composer that wrote a lot of exercises to develop skills for pianists, virtuoso studies, and a lot of etudes. So the beginning is supposed to sound a little bit like that. Supposed to sound like a student perhaps practicing her technique, right, to become a better pianist, to become more skilled. And then by the end of the piece, right, he becomes very, very virtuosic. In other words, all the hard work pays off. Okay. All right. So let's see how much you remember. Wow. Well, so since we first did it about 3 months ago or so before I left, I know you've been very busy, right? So you probably had not played this piece, right? Until just today. So you still do know it, right? That's just quite amazing. Well, in our lessons, I try to follow the score, right? So that we don't miss the details that the composer gives us, right? And so I'm being your eyes and, looking at the score to make sure that everything that the composer wants us to do, that we are doing justice to. So, the middle section with the crossover part, right? There were some notes that we could clean up. The fast notes, they were even, right? Those 16th notes. Anyway, so let's go over it. So remember earlier I said that the beginning was kind of classically inspired, right? With all those finger patterns, sort of exercise-like. However, of course, we know Debussy is do you know what style is Debussy?
Oh my gosh.
Give me a second, okay? Somebody said the door. I'll be right back.
What the heck? Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Sorry, it should be unlocked.
It's all right, no problem.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh.
All right, I appreciate your patience. So I was saying, right, the beginning was classically inspired, but Debussy is not a classical composer. So what's Debussy?
Debussy.
Was he Baroque composer?
Ooh.
Definitely not, right? So he's not Baroque, he's not classical. Was he romantic?
Romantic, yeah.
Well, he's post-romantic, right?
Post-romantic.
So after, right? So he's what we call impressionist.
Impressionist,
Yeah, so he's an impressionist composer. So this piece, right? Especially that middle section, right? I like to use the word maybe dreamy, right? So it's like almost like the child, right? He or she was practicing for a long time, and then she took a little nap of some sort, right? And then she wakes up and she practices again, right? So by the end of the session, she became really good. But we want a little flexibility.
Wow.
So the music does not have to be very rigid in that middle section. So there can be a little more rubato. Okay.
Wow.
And also we want to think about the tempo. Do you know what that word means?
The tempo.
Right? So the tempo is what? Is that to do with the dynamics, the sound, or is that to do with the speed?
Good speed, huh?
Yep, it's to do with speed, right? So the beginning of the piece actually is not too fast, right? It's sort of moderate. It's lively, but moderately lively. So if we play the beginning too fast, right, I feel like then we won't be able to go even more faster at the end, because the last part of the piece is supposed to be very, very fast. So we want to show that progression. So I would almost deliberately try to play the beginning a little slower. Okay, so then we can articulate every note. Right? So not necessarily, right? Even though it's possible, right? But I don't think we want to go that fast, right? So it wants to sound almost like you're just getting into your practice routine. So moderately, right? And then make sure that we are bringing out the main note, right? So lean on the first note of the group. So lean on the first note. So we bring out that top voice. So the very first part was even. You're not trying to bring out any particular.
Oh, wow.
It's just like a pure exercise. You're treating everybody equal. Okay, so there's no layering. Okay, it's like just a pure exercise. And then you become a little bit aware. Oh, I don't have to play every note even, right? So it's almost like the student is becoming more musical, right? So she's thinking, okay, I don't have to play every note even. I can bring out a particular voice, right? So that part already is a little more romantic. You see what I mean? So the beginning, in my opinion, should be just very straightforward, kind of like a boring exercise, right? Right, I'm trying to make sure I don't go too fast either. So it's already a little different feel, right? So it already becomes more expressive, right? Or more musical by the time you get to that. And then I also add more pedal too. So I didn't use too much pedal, if at all, because we want to be dry, right? Dry-ish, right? So remember, think of just the most boring exercise you've played. Some people start, right? The practice routine with like a hand and exercise, right? Wow. Some people do scales, right? Right, so you don't pedal those things, right? They're just little, it's kind of warm up things for your fingers. So think of that, right, for that first phrase. So something to warm up your fingers, not too much expression, just pretty matter of fact, right? Just getting your fingers warmed up and then becoming more musical and more expressive as you explore, right? The rest of the piece. So by the time you get to here, again, Debussy is quite specific, right? So when I say to bring out the first note, right, of those notes, he wrote them as 8 notes with a staccato dot and a curved line over them. So it does have a separate stem, so they are more important than the other 16th note. But then when he gets to here, he could very well have continued the same notation. But he wrote them now as quarter notes. So that's definitely longer, right? So 8th note. So I'm bringing them out, but I'm not holding them that long, right? So I'm not going like the whole quarter note. So I hold it, then I sort of go away. I hold it, then I sort of go away. I hold it, then I sort of go away, because it's only an 8th note. But when I get to here, I'm gonna go out of my way to hold it for the full quarter note. It's not really possible, right? Because the note is repeated. So it's not possible, but I'm gonna lean onto it extra more. Lean onto it extra more. Almost tenutoing it. In other words, even more romantic sounding, right? And more pedaling for sure, right? Because I want to hold on to the quarter note. So the pedal becomes a full-blown, pedal. Whereas the beginning was on the much drier side.
Wow.
And then, of course, we have the fancy crossover, right? The wave. The very lush romantic sound, right? So, but then the second measure, which is very similar, does not have the crescendo decrescendo. So the first one he wrote crescendo, and then second one there's no, right? So it's almost like an echo, but the notes sound the same, right? So first one was fa la do re re do la fa. Second one is fa la do re re do ti la. So the notes not the same. Oh, very good, right? So you heard it, right? You heard that I played much, much quieter. Wow. This piano, I'm just starting to become friends with it again. Do you know what that means? I grew up with this piano. This piano was the piano I had since I was like 5 years old. And I was playing on this piano for all my student life, right? But I didn't move it to the United States with me. So I have not played this piano for the last 17 years. So now I'm back, right? So it's like an old friend, right? I sort of know it, but I have not played on it for so long. My other pianos, they are on the boat somewhere in the middle of the ocean. So they're not here yet. So in the meantime, I'm teaching on my childhood piano, which is still an amazing instrument. You know, it's so old now. But it just goes to show that a good piano, you know, if it's taken care of, does last a very long time. So for me, right, I have to get used to the piano again and get used to the touch. It's a little bit harder to make a very, very soft sound on an upright piano. It's not quite as sensitive. So in this case, right, I actually soft pedal it. Now you know the soft pedal, right? So the first time I do crescendo, decrescendo, second time, right, I soft pedal it and I just barely touch the keys, right? I go so light on it, right? And I do hear you do the same, right? Because you have just amazing ears. You pick out these tiniest little details even through Zoom. And then the second one was the fret. So to go out of your way to do the crescendo, and then second time, same thing, right? Second time, just do that big echo, and then that ends our first section, right? So that crescendo should be very satisfying, right? And I would just lean on that note, right? Sometimes, remember in the Beethoven, there you go, yep, lean on it. It's a sforzando, it has an accent. We want to go out of our way, right? So don't be shy, right? I don't think we necessarily need to jump out of the chair for this one. Remember what I used to tell you the phrase "jump out of the chair," right? When we wanted to go big, right? Like when you were playing. One time you played a Rachmaninoff prelude, right? Anyway, so this probably doesn't need to be quite that big, right? But it definitely wants to feel like a milestone. Okay, so that's the end of that first section. All right, so now we talked about the first section in great detail. Can we play it again?
Nice. Woohoo. Woohoo.
Oh, there's a weird note. Do, mi, so, do, re, mi, so, re, do, mi, so, do, ti, mi, so, ti, la, mi, so, la, so, do, mi, so, fa, do, mi, fa. I think you didn't play that last group. Right, so listen to this part again. Yeah. No, not yet. No flats, right? Simply softer. Louder flat. Right? So first one, no flat.
Wow.
Now, I don't know if you're changing pedal or not. I didn't feel the crescendo. So, bigger, right? Bigger and bigger. Yes, that's better. All right. Okay. Now, after you hit this high E, 2, 3, 4, tie. Right? It's better to be too long than too short. Excuse my background. I have somebody working in the house, so you're probably gonna hear a little buzz in the background. So hopefully they won't be for too much longer. Whenever we have a tie across the bar line, right, which is what we have here, it's always better to be too long rather than too short. So do not cut it short, right? So this is a big moment. So 2, 3, 4, tie. Right, better be too long, okay? And then definitely no pedal, okay? So this part should be kind of back to the exercise again. Right? So just like very straightforward, not too much going on, but bring out that G, okay? I probably overdid it a little bit. So that G is an important note. And then you start again. But see, I bring that G out. Right? So the little underlying melody is like a lot of E's, G. Yep. Okay.
Wow.
And then, right, again, the score is, our best friend, right? Not go and call the composer, go, hey, Debussy, what did you mean here, right? What is your intention here? It's not possible, right? So all we have is the score. So, Debussy is pretty specific, right? Some composers are not very specific. They leave so much out, that the interpreter or the performer has to do a lot of thinking. Debussy is pretty detailed, right, in his notation. So these ones he wrote staccato, and then he wrote crescendo towards the G. So that's how I know the G is important towards the G. And then tenuto, right? So this note needs to be brought out. So he didn't draw the staccato on the G. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Got it. That's what I mean, right? So the tenuto note are longer, so we lean on it, right? We physically lean onto our finger, lean on it, and then lean on it. Yes. So, and I also pedal, right? Oh, sorry. So pedal on the G, right? Pedal on the notes that you want to bring up. And definitely slow down there, right? It's like another section, right? So the practice session has come to the end, and you start over, right? Okay, so can we play from this crescendo to the E? Right? Oh, sorry, I forgot the note. Yeah. Good. We could clean that up a little bit. Now let's play quieter. Is there any way you could play all those much quieter, right? So almost like tiptoeing. Now they are very close to each other, right? The two hands are in each other's way. Make sure that you put your left hand finger much higher up towards the foreboard. Okay, so that is completely out of the way from the right hand. Now we don't want it to be jammed with our right hand. Yeah. Good. Okay, very good. Now this section is very interesting, right? Because we think, like, for example, if we had never heard of this piece, by the time you get to here, you would think, oh, okay, we are back to square one, right? But it doesn't, right? It doesn't stay the same. So only one measure is the same. That measure is the same, and then that's different for sure, right? So I would also not pedal this measure, right? So it's almost like, okay, I'm back to my practice, but then I will pedal that measure, right? So when it starts changing, and you can gradually increase. So the very first two beats, maybe you half pedal, right? So you're not just going from no pedal to full scale pedal. So dry, and then kind of full scale pedal there. Now this section is what I mean by a pretty romantic sounding section, right? So all that crossover is very lush, right? And those notes are very important. Now very expressive here, right? He even writes the word expressive, right? So that chromatic descending sound, right? See that A natural? That's such an expressive note, right? It's like, oh, it's a my gosh moment, right? So beautiful there. So take some time. talking about. Almost like she's taking a nap, right? I keep saying she because remember this was inspired by his daughter. But of course, certainly could be a student, right? That's just a very, very beautiful part, right? So that part is truly, truly a very romantic part, right?
Wow.
Okay, so let's hear you play that part. So let's go from the return.
Nice.
I noticed something I did not notice before.
Wow, nice.
It's that A flat, right? Wow. So you knew I played A flat, no doubt. You knew the note was A flat. Wow. That's right? But guess what? Could you play with the left hand, right? It's just more of a gesture, right? So it's just kind of, yes, let the left hand play that note. So the right hand is still doing this, what do you call it, right? Kind of like the beginning, right? Remember this idea? Right? The pattern is the same as the beginning, just in a different key. But that A flat is an expressive note, right? That A flat is not part of this little pattern, right? So playing with the right hand kind of doesn't work, right? It's a different idea. So even though it's the same note, let's use the left hand. Right? It just helps the performer realize the musical intention, right? Okay. Well, I like to describe this particular part as almost like, somebody trying to wake up, but then having a hard time, and then they try it again, right? So it's like she was taking a nap. It's like, oh, I don't want to wake up, but let me try again. I gotta wake up, but I really don't want to. This is the last effort. All right, gotta wake up and do my practice. And off she goes again, right? Or he goes again. Okay, well, I think I might have heard a couple other notes that were not what I would have liked, right? So can we please do the section one more time?
Yeah.
Then we can move on. Yep. So let's go from the section that you just played, but one more time. And remember to really make the most of those crossover notes. I know it's very hard when you cross over, right, to have a little more freedom in your arms, right? That's right. Because you need reference, right? Wow. So I know that's something that is not really possible because you can't see where the notes are. So you need to sort of feel, right, the relationship between where the black notes are grouped. But of course, try, right? So as you cross over your other hand, yeah, a little freedom of the movement. If you could go higher, right? And just go, right? Once you have found your note, just let it go. I know it's a new note, but you need to get back, right? So there's no time to hold on to, right? So just let go of the note as soon as you find it. that G with much more expressiveness. So that G is just so dear, right?
Wow.
Yes. Good. Oh, I don't think I heard that B flat. Can I hear this B flat? So listen. There's a B flat here, right? Now I played it extra loud so you could hear that I did play it. Of course, it doesn't need to be that loud, but we gotta play this E flat with this B flat, right? So together, 2 beats. There's a tie. 2 beats again. All right. So let's play starting from. That part.
Wow.
Oh, now I also see something that I didn't know before. Again, it's because you don't see which hand I'm using, right? Which is fine because you do everything by ear. I played right hand, left hand, but right hand. Use the right hand to play the screw. Do, sol, flat, T flat, do, mi. Why? Because Debussy wants them to become a chord, right? It's tied over. So unless you use the right hand, you're not gonna be able to do that justice. So it's important to play these notes with the right hand. You see how it becomes a chord? So do, sol, flat, T flat, do. Now hold the notes down after you play them. Yep. So then all of this right hand, so the left hand just goes down to play this B flat. Okay. So let's try that again. Thank you. Now, again, that E flat is an important note, right? So go, 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 go. Little bit of a rubato there, right? Go leading into that E flat. Not so straightforward. Okay, that's probably a bit too much, right? So the rubato is a very good thing, except if it's too much, right? Then it's not good. So it's like, you know, a little sugar is very sweet, but too much sugar is not a good thing. So you gotta be careful how much you do, okay? Now you can't do every note. You can't rubato every note, right? Because let's go too much. So straightforward, little rubato, especially right before the E flat note. Something like that. Good. I like that. Too short, right? So 2 beats, tie. 2 beats again. So the last E flat you're not long enough, right? So play. Let's just go from here now. 2 beats here, tie. 2 beats there again. Okay, your turn. No, I didn't hear 2 beats. Right? That there are, they're basically all 2 beats. Well, I shouldn't say that. I take it back. There's 2 beats here, right? 2 beats here, 2 beats there, right? Because it's tied over, so it is 2 beats, and then 2 beats here again, right? Is that final E flat? I didn't feel it was long enough. So can we please play that again? Very good. All right, so thank you for fixing that 2B business. Now that A flat is a destination because it changes key, right? The piece goes through like different key signatures. It was nothing. and then it became 2 flats, and now it's 5 flats. Okay, so that A flat needs a little thought. So listen again. Now you fix the 2-beat business. Now very gentle, right? Gentle on this A flat. It's like it's settled into a new area. Turn neutral it. Try again. Turn neutral it. Try once more. Sorry, my mistake. Big moment, use the left hand. And pretty big slow down. Then right, and back to the first opening section again. Alright, your turn please. Okay, now I see something else that you're doing that I would like to be different. So, Debussy writes expressive and a curved line, right? And a tenuto on the first chord and a decrescendo sign leading to this chord. So just that little figure, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 instructions. Okay, yes. But in order to do all those things justice, right? The expressive, the curved line, the tenuto, and the decrescendo, you have to use the fingering that allows the notes to be connected. So I do 1, 3, and then I do 2, 4. Yes, and I don't break it, right? Now you were repeating with yes. That's better. Now can we play the second chord much quieter? So. Alright, now how do we play that second one quieter? We can't play it, right? So if we physically push our finger down, it will be loud. So you press down on those 2 notes, but then think up, right? Think only up. Think up. Yep, don't think down. So down for this one, but up for that one. Oh, that's too loud. That's way too loud. Right? I think you misunderstood me. Better. Okay, we are getting there, right? You cannot see me, so I know it's all done by ear, right? But I want you to try really hard to listen, right? So now listen to the sound of this. It's very, very slight, right? Imagine petting a little kitten. A newborn kitten, okay? So very, very delicate, right? You have to be so delicate, otherwise you're gonna hurt it, right? Better. Now gentle pet, yes. Yeah, better. Good. And then it's all back to square one. So no pedal again. Back to my churning exercise all over, right? Okay. Okay. Now, of course, the bass note is a G here, right? So it used to be a C, but this is a dominant bass note. So it's a little unsettled. It's like, when can I get back to C? Right here, right? That's the C, right? So there has got to be some awareness. Something like that. So, do, mi, so. Sometimes you do so, do, re, so. It's so, do, mi. No black notes yet. That's it. Now, of course, this is the most glorifying moment, right, of the whole piece. So Debussy wants you to become livelier little by little, right? So you're gonna kind of increase the speed, right? Now, of course, this is a very interesting chord, right? It's an augmented chord, right? It used to be a major chord, but by the time you get to this last section, right? Like, it's almost like celebrating, right? It's like, oh, my hard work has paid off, right? I've worked so hard. So it's like you, right? You work very, very, very hard all your life, and now you are so successful, right? So you enjoy the glory, right? You enjoy all the success. So those notes can be really clearly spelled out, right? So don't even be afraid to just play the loudest you can, right? Do you see how loud I play those notes? Right, those quarter notes. Debussy wrote them as a quarter note with a separate stick with a tenuto mark on each note. That's a lot of effort, right? Because he really wants to show you, right, that they are important. Right? And then here, this is something interesting. It's a decrescendo, which is normal, right? Remember, when there's a curved line over two notes, the normal way to play is loud followed by soft, just like what we did earlier. But then he switches it, so it goes. The second one is opposite, right? So listen to how interesting that is. See? So loud, soft, soft, loud. Go backwards. Okay. Yeah. So loud, soft, and then soft, loud, soft, soft, loud, and then loud, more louder. Again, that's unusual, right? So you wanna go. You wanna play the B natural louder, right? Yeah. And then here he says very, very lively, right? In other words, basically as fast as you can. Right? So it doesn't want to be the same speed. It doesn't want to be like your opening tempo. Right? You can just go to town, right? Play however fast you can play here. The final section is supposed to be virtuosic. It's supposed to make people feel like, wow, that's amazing, right? So,
Wow.
can we go back a little bit? Can we go from the that augmented chord? Yeah. All right. I heard it. I heard you do. Right? The decrescendo followed by the crescendo. Now, you missed that G though. That G cannot be missed. That G is so important. Yeah. So now I know it's not easy, right? G. Now, to make sure I don't miss that G, I actually took a little time, right? So, because it's not worth it to miss that G, right? So, it's better if you have to just take a split second to make sure that you're gonna. Oh, I missed the C, but that G is just absolutely crucial, okay? Yeah. Yeah. Now I always say these things just jump up. Yeah. So feel like your hands are going to bounce up and hit the ceiling. Okay. Let it hit the ceiling. Let it bounce up. Let it hit. Something like that. Yeah.
Woohoo!
Super big, right?
Dang.
Okay.
Oh my
Well
God.
done. Well done, right? So that's a very detailed lesson on this piece, right?
Oh my gosh.
It's one of my most favorite pieces to teach, right? Because it tells a story, right? So, and it's just very imaginative, right? And it has many elements. It's almost like one piece, but has several different influences and, different patterns, different styles. So it's got everything. It's got technique, right? It's got musicianship. It's got rubato. It's got virtuosity, right, at the end. So it's a piece that sort of just has so many elements to it. So it's one of my most favorite pieces to teach. And it is also level 10 in the RCM syllabus.
What the heck?
So you played the Kodi Lee, right? But this particular piece is also in the level 10 syllabus.
Oh my
For
God.
anybody that's interested to follow the RCM program.
Interesting.
Okay, well, it is so good to see you, right?
Oh my gosh.
Glad that we are back on track with our lessons, and I will see you next time.
Woohoo!
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Woohoo!